It's 5:30. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Patterson.
Here.
Mr. Richmond.
Here.
Mr. Cook.
Here.
Ms. Hefner. Here. Mr. Engard.
Here.
Mr. Soltis. Here. Ms. Beaupre. Here.
All right, we got everybody's here. Fantastic. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the February 11th, 2025 council meeting.
Second.
There's a motion and a second.
Does that need to say, in all of this stuff I lost track, were they amended?
Yeah, under the mayor's report, in the second or third page, it had CAT, and it should have been automated generator system. And I changed it. That's what, you have that page on your table.
So does Ms. Beaupre need to say in her?
No, because
I changed it before.
Okay.
That's the one that we are approving, those notes.
Okay.
Good question. Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Richmond.
Yes.
Mr. Cook.
Yes.
Ms. Hefner.
Yes.
Mr. Engard.
Yes.
Mr. Soltis.
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre.
Can we please get a motion to approve the minutes from the March 4th, 2025 special meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, guys. Any discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Cook.
Yes.
Ms. Hefner. Yes. Mr. Engard.
Yes.
Mr. Soltis.
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre. Yes. Mr. Richmond.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We will be moving on to public participation. We do not have anybody signed up. However, I want to welcome the young men and Mr. Trout from pack number 372. We have Ethan Smith, Orrin Weimer, and Owen Rush. Welcome, guys. Thanks for taking the time to come up here and see us. Before we move on, do you guys have any questions for any of us? So the way this works, I am the mayor, Mayor Patterson, and Miss Beaupre, Mr. Soltis, Mr. Engard, Ms. Hefner, Mr. Cook, and Mr. Richmond are our legislative authorities. They're the ones that set policy and pass all the laws, and they're the ones that pay the bills. So they're actually the important people up here. I just chair the meeting, and I'm part of the administrative portion side of the way the village runs. It helps me tremendously. I'm very blessed with Mr. Klaus here, who takes care of, once they approve all the finances, Mr. Klaus actually pays the bills and makes sure that we don't do something we're not allowed to do. And then we've got our administrator. He runs the day-to-day operations, Mr. Bender here, and he's the one that makes sure that the village runs smoothly and takes care of all the administrative issues. And if you look at that board right above you, it kind of tells how the village is set up. So the residents are they're the people that they're the bosses. They're the ones we answer to, and rightfully so. Then you got the mayor, the council, and the clerk, and we have Mrs. Walter here, and she is our clerk, treasurer, and she takes care of directing our of all the minutes and recording everything that takes place within these meetings and making sure that all that documentation gets to the right place. So that's very important. And then you have the EMS chief back there, Mr. Walter. Can you say hi? Obviously, we know what he does. He takes care of us when we're sick or if we're injured. And then you got Mr. Lafferty here is our chief of police who protects us. So he's if you have any questions, feel free. Mr. Trout, as I made mention, if you want any of us to do anything, I can speak for myself. We will help out in any way. We will come out and see everybody, or we can do something special up here sometime with all the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
Would be great.
Yeah, this is the quietest these three have ever.
Yeah. Well, welcome, young men. We're glad to have you here this evening.
No questions?
This is probably going to be, I hope it's not too long of a meeting, but we're going to have an executive session for everybody at 6 o'clock because we're going to be talking to we're going to be interviewing one more potential legal council member before we make a decision on which direction we want to go. But hopefully that doesn't take too long.
We'll probably leave at the.
Yes, that's why I'm letting you know.
Yeah.
Yep, so that'll be at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna try to push this through as quick as I can, and then we'll reconvene, but I do not foresee any action for that tonight. There will be a couple other things we talk about in executive session where there may be some action, so just to give you a heads up. So we're gonna move on, thank you very much. Letters and communications. All right, let me find what I got here. So, in the past, the legislative authority of the Village of North Baltimore has always financially supported the Historical Society with a $500 donation. Every year we always have. I don't know why we did in the last couple of years. I don't know if it got brought to our attention, if it was just an oversight or whatever. I know we didn't last year because I talked to him. So before that, I'm not sure, Mr. Cook. But I do know last year, and I think we looked and there was no donation made last year. I don't know. I might have had.
Definitely not for 2024.
Yeah, so we didn't last year. They're asking, and I went out down there and talked to them and actually joined up to the Historical Society. So I really enjoyed it down there for the time that I did it. It's a very neat place. I've only ever been there one other time, but I would certainly encourage anybody to go look at it. It's wonderful. And but they're asking, they're asking for a $736.03 donation this year, and they've actually got an itemized bill of. I told them it's not necessary, right? Just let us know what you guys are asking for, and we'll see what we can do to help. So they're asking for $736.03. It's for hangers, medium hangers, large hangers, some envelopes, photo envelopes, some artifact boxes, and some textile boxes. Does anybody oppose us supporting them? Okay, I will go ahead and we'll find some funds for that. I think I talked about maybe the mayor discretionary fund that we have a little bit of money in there. We might just take it out of there, but Matt will do his due diligence, and then with your guys' approval, we don't have to take action on that. That's within our spending, but I certainly want to let you guys know that we will be supporting that very worthy cause. Hopefully, with your guys' blessing, in the next few years. Oh my gosh, other thing. There it is. Just want to bring your attention, this is going to save us time later. We have received our invitation to the Wood County Economic Development Annual Dinner. If anybody's interested, it's $50 per person or $400 for a table of 8. I know last year the village picks the cost of this up. They have every year. So usually what we do is it's actually a pretty good time to go. It's pretty worthy. So what I would ask, if anybody goes, let us know ahead of time. We had a little confusion last year. If you're not signed up to go, please don't show up. Right? We had that problem last year. Somebody did not sign up. They said they wasn't going, and they ended up showing up, which could have put us in a bind, right? So because we have to have the amount of tickets for the amount of meals. So we'll pay up to as many as you guys want.
What night of the week is that on again?
We use. I'm sorry. It is April. This needs to be in by April 10th, so we're in no hurry. We'll be reaching out and following up and seeing if anybody's interested. We can go over as a group, or you can go over. And it is scheduled for the 17th of April, which I don't know what that is. It'd be a Thursday. So it's a Thursday, and it starts at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock is their social hour, and then 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock is their dinner, and they usually have a pretty good CM there and they always honor somebody. So we will be reaching back out to see if anybody's available. If you sign up, please attend, because we're using taxpayer money to pay for that, and we don't want to waste it. So
I would like to go.
you would like to, we'll get together and we will follow. Well, can I give this to you then, and we'll follow up on that tomorrow? Reach out to everybody and see if
You can put my name on it.
Okay. So that was the only two things I want to talk about at this point while we're going. Administrative reports. We'll move on to the finance officer.
Yeah,
Mr. Klaus,
I
please.
emailed out my report, as far as on the first page, I had some things I highlighted. One I'll kind of center on here is recently set up the new laptop and printer we received through UAN. UAN is a division of the Auditor Estates Office. Stands for Uniform Accounting Network. It's just a common, use the word like who knows how many times a day. We pay a quarterly fee of the village pays a quarterly fee of $876 to UAN. What's received out of that, $876 per quarter is the computer, printer, accounting software, and tech support. So,
Thank you.
kinda, lines, gives you a view of what exactly you're getting in return for that. And they're on, the whole state's on this, like on a schedule of replacement, so that's just, it's all part of their routine. We also recently added UAN on our administrator Josh Bender's computer and on Kylie's computers. I may have mentioned that before. Moving on to the cash summary by fund. I spent some time on that
Thank you.
to work through it. Comfortable with, it took a little while to get everything figured out, but I'm comfortable with where I'm at on it. I did add a line at the very bottom, which when I add a line, it means a fund. That's new from last meeting. So really the last 4 lines there kind of help spell the jet out. 9201 shows the year-to-date revenue. Show all the money, it kind of speaks for itself, gross incoming revenue. And then as that revenue comes in, it gets dispersed out by the lines below it. 10% goes to the administrative account, which is 9202. We dispersed it in December of 2024, but not any this year, so that's why it's all zeros. And then 9203, 60% to Henry Township. 9204, 30% to North Baltimore. But I did put some projections in there. I'd like to think I was conservative on those, especially since it's new and we don't really know for sure. But that kind of, I think that kind of helps show, it just helps show the picture a little more on that. I'm not going to go in depth tonight, but I do have another report for income tax that I'll bring to the committee of the whole. It gets more in depth with all the income tax. So that's just, I think we have enough tonight, and it's not, it can wait till then. Another thing that I wanted to mention, and the mayor sat in on a couple of the meetings. I've met with some of our investors. One of our accounts is through Meter, which is this one. One of them's through SGS, Charles Schwab. Met with Huntington, that's our checking account. They have an investment side. Right now, collecting information. Our Star Ohio account's paying, that's our Star Ohio account's where a bulk of our money's at. It's paying 4.46% today, so it's still doing well. But what we're really looking at is kind of keeping an eye on things, but it seems like that the administration would like to see interest rates go down. That's the idea, but it's good to revisit our portfolio. But if we get where, the council that we think interest rates are gonna go down, we would look at potentially moving money from Star Ohio to these accounts to lock in a rate. So
Yes.
it's not urgent by any means, but yet we'll be talking about it more in the next couple meetings, couple months. So if anybody has any questions at all, you're welcome to pop in my office, especially if you're a financial whiz and you want to look into the report. So
good luck. All I can say.
That's everything I had, and I'm open for questions.
Matt, can I just jump in here and just get, so Matt, these 3 jet accounts were set up. I asked Matt to add that last one, and the reason why, and I hope it's okay with you guys, because that revenue that we've got would just go back into the general fund, right? So, and I don't want to lose that new revenue source. I want us to be able to see what that's generating every time, so that we, because when you look at the general fund, that's like our savings account. You really don't want to touch that too much. That's what really we want to protect. I'm not saying we don't touch it, but I'm saying that's the one that's kind of our baby down there, and that's where that money would go. But here it gives it's one item of many that makes up the general fund. That I thought maybe if you guys could see that, you guys know you could spend that money on you know, you can plan for it rather than just lose it in the general fund. So I wanna thank Matt for setting that up, and you'll be able to see that thing, how that fund, you know, performs over the next whatever. So thank you very much, Matt. Did you have anything else you wanted to share, Matt?
Not,
Okay.
not right now.
Thank you for all your work. I have something, and I'm not gonna go into executive to talk about this. Sunday, March 16th, will be Mr. Klaus's, 6-month, probationary, time completion. He will have completed his probationary period, so I'm gonna ask for 2 things here. One, I'm gonna ask for a motion to, approve Matt going from the $67,000 salary that he's making now up to the $68,500 as we negotiated when we hired him.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? Sorry, I threw that in there, Becky.
That's okay, who gave the second?
Ms. Hefner,
Okay.
vote when ready, please.
Discussion?
Oh, is there any discussion?
Yes, this is just a question for council, fellow council members. Is that sufficient, or do we want?
Yes, that's sufficient at this point.
Okay. That's all?
Thank you. Vote when ready, please.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Boeckrey? Yes. Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry to come across. Matt, Mr. Klaus has done such a wonderful job for this village. I've never seen anything like it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not saying that because he's sitting here. I've been a council member for 16 years, and I'm so pleased with the job that this man has done for us. And I know that it's not much, but I would ask this council to consider, and I know it's not a lot, but I just wanted a little token of appreciation. If you guys would, consider a $750 bonus for the job that he has done over the 6 months, to just a little token of our appreciation as a commitment to the village. Would you guys consider that, please?
If we need a motion, I'll make it.
We do need a motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Soltis. Thank you, Mr. Cook.
So, what was the amount again?
$750 bonus for his effort, commitment.
Hey,
all
my
that he's
wife
done.
a dozen eggs.
Any other discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Boeckrey? Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Anything else any other questions for Mr. Klaus? Okay, moving on to, that's all that I had there. Okay, EMS chief report, please. It is before you. I hope that if you read it, great job to our EMS department. Unfortunately, we had 50 calls for service for the month of February, and I don't want to, I hate to say that, but it was a record number, so on the positive that they handled it. And thank you very much, job well done, chief.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could add to that.
Did I say something I shouldn't have?
I put you right over the edge, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, no! Mike,
50 sounds better than 49.
Oh, no. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Before you should have, 2 hiring recommendations for this department. We'll start with, if I would ask that this body would consider hiring Joe Marakis as a part-time volunteer EMT. That's at $16.25 an hour.
Make the motion. Second.
The second one?
Yeah, we got it right here. Yes.
Oh,
Who made that second?
Mr. Cook did.
Thank you.
so that's above minimum pay?
It's above minimum pay?
Well, because he justified something here.
Okay, yeah, so Joe, some discussion. Joe requests to be a volunteer EMT for North Baltimore and advises he'll be able to work part-time as they fill in when needed. Joe lives in NB.
Well, I'm just reading, provide justification for starting at the rate above, the starting pay. I was just curious.
I think that is the starting
That is
pay,
the
isn't it?
starting pay,
I think that is the starting pay.
$16.25.
Okay, just wanna make
I think so.
sure it was.
Yep, good
Thank you.
good
I had the
catch.
same question.
Yep, good catch. Is there any other discussion? To be hired, as of 3/11/2025, and just to stop just for a second, so I can clear this up, because we're gonna be asking. So I went to the department heads and asked them, and well, I actually talked to the department head and talked to April, and the simplest way to do this, because it seems like we're always in here asking, what's the start date, what's the start date, what's the start date? Well, as long as we authorize it on the date that we have the meeting, right, then they'll take care of the rest of it out on the other end. The administration will be like, okay, because they gotta come in and fill their paperwork out and stuff like that, and then officially, when it gets turned into the state is when all, like, it gets turned in that we hire them today, but when they start is officially after they, you know, whenever they, get all that stuff turned in and.
Once they get the orientation.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at, and I apologize, just like we hired, Mr. Lafferty, at the last meeting, but he wasn't gonna start till March 3rd, we didn't necessarily have to spell out March 3rd.
Until
Yeah, they'll take care of that on their end, and it won't affect us any, and it keeps this discussion down, so.
So we're just approving it on this date and.
Yep, and they'll take care of it from there, yes. Now, please feel free to ask, if there's still nothing wrong to say, hey, when's this person starting, and we need to give that answer, but I'm talking about as far as officially, it's when we approve it, just to kind of, so thank you.
Streamlined.
Yep, okay, any other discussion? Well, Mr. Marakis, vote when ready, please.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre? Yes. Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will entertain a motion to hire Mr. James Jenkins Jr. as an EMT part-time volunteer, starting pay of $16.25 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Hefner, second by Mr. Engard. Vote when ready, please.
Ms. Beaupre? Yes. Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms.
Hello.
Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Would please.
Mr. Soltis?
Thank you very much. We're gonna pause the meeting at 6 o'clock, and then we'll go into executive session to visit with you, if that's okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for that. Any questions for our EMS chief? All right, moving on to the fire department. The fire report is before you. It looks like everything's pretty consistent, and nothing's really changed much, but they are asking that we hire a new firefighter volunteer who is, so I would like to entertain a motion to hire Carl Gibson as of 3/11/2025 for a volunteer firefighter at the volunteer pay of $15 per run, and a maximum of $22.50 per run, depending on the situation.
Motion.
There's a motion, there's a second. Is there any discussion on this?
You guys gotta speak up a little bit, I can't hear.
Second.
Got it. Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre? Yes.
The fire, go ahead,
Can I
please.
ask a question?
Sure.
And this may not be the forum for this, but why do we have two assistant fire chiefs?
I don't know, that was done before I come up, but we can get an answer on that.
Okay.
Yes.
That's been bothering me, I was just wondering.
Sure, well, we've got a meeting with him, with Mr.
Because we pay them both.
With Mr., yeah,
That's why I was wondering.
yeah, and I'm not sure how all that come about, I was not on at that time, so it's something, we're meeting with him tomorrow at 3:30 with the chief?
Yes.
I believe so, to talk about
It
finances.
just seems to me to have to
Yes.
make a whole.
Okay, so we could ask that, okay. We will try to get an answer for you tomorrow. Why, we have two assistant chiefs?
Yes.
Is that, does anybody else have that same question?
Makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm writing this down. Okay. Any other questions that anybody would like me to relate to the fire chief? Okay, moving on to the police report. It is before you. They've been pretty busy. 218 calls for service. That's before you. Our chief is here. We have been talking then, and I've shared this with you guys, we have been talking with a lot of people about the potential for a K-9 unit, and that's probably the biggest thing going on in that department right now as far as discussion, and the new potential body armor that we're looking at. One of our past officers was working on that. One of the part-timers has picked that up, that whole process, and he's gonna meet with Dave tomorrow. We have approved the bulletproof glass, the bulletproof, the bulletproof, they're gonna put a plate in the wall, make it a little more restricted to shoot through if anybody, if we have an active shooter. We will be coming to this body in the near future for a better door over there. It's like not good. Like it's like paper thin. So we need to, if we're gonna secure it, we probably better secure it, you know, the best we can. So those are the things that are kind of going on in that department right now. Before I get on to asking for a formal hiring, do you have any questions for the chief? Chief, do you have anything to add to that? Okay, well, if you do, before we're done, speak up anytime, as always. I'll entertain a motion to hire Chase Fletcher as an auxiliary police officer, if anybody's interested. Obviously, they get paid like $1 a year, am I right in saying that?
They can claim it now and if they never do.
But we have to put it on there, we have to offer it. Okay, I think by the revised code, I'm pretty certain that we do. So
Just more than we paid him before.
You're gonna put a smile on Josh's face.
So moved.
Okay, so to hire Mr. Fletcher, second, he'll be and he was really looking forward to this, so. Okay, any other discussion? Vote when ready, please, on Mr. Fletcher.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yep.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Will you please reach out to him? I think he'll be very pleased. I've talked to him on the phone. Move on to, entertain a motion to hire Mr. Matt Wagner for a full-time police officer. This will be to fulfill the last full-time officer that we need to fill the department to 100% capacity in the full time portion of our workforce. Before I move on, at a full-time position at a rate of $24.50 per hour. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to add anything to that, Mr. Lapp? Because you recognize,
Circle the full-time, it is full-time.
it's full-time. Yeah, so I circled my full-time.
I have a question. Have we met Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Well,
You interviewed him.
Yeah, I have.
You have not. I think he's asking, are you asking as a village or are you asking?
Have we met?
No. you're
Okay.
not.
I'm not demanding that, I'm just
No.
asking.
Do you believe he's gonna be a pretty good officer?
Absolutely.
He looked like he would be a good officer to us, so, to me, that's all. I met him
Penn State.
for a short time. So there's a motion, there's a second. Any other discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Okay, I'd say we pause here for a minute and I'll entertain a motion. What do we need to go into executive session for? Anything other than G1, which is personnel?
No, just that.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code 121G1 for personnel.
So moved.
121-22G1. There's a motion. And there's a second. Any discussion? Okay, vote when ready, please.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis? Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond? Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Our bad.
Okay, we are out of executive session. There's no action to be taken per our discussions at this time, but there will be in the near future. So, with that being said, we will be moving on to Department of Public Works. Obviously, they're not required to be here because it's not a committee of the whole. So we already talked about, and Ms. Beaupre wasn't here, I just kind of threw it out there real quick. We got a quote on the street light replacement for Water and Main Street, the traffic light. And Josh got a quote from the guys that it's gonna be somewhere around, I think, $1,600. It's not, shouldn't be the whole project with the new traffic light and the labor to install it by the professional should be no more than $3,000, which is in Mr. Bender's spending limitation or threshold allowance. Thank you. And we do have that in the budget for signs. We currently have that. We don't have it for that specific item. So if we come up short later on, obviously later on in the year we'll have to reappropriate. But I think we're sitting pretty comfortable right now. So I just want to let you guys know that we will be making that. If it's okay with you guys, that we don't have to vote on it.
Utility director.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We can go back to it,
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So, just wanted to bring that to your attention, 2000, okay, and that's all that I have. Did anybody have any questions or anything they wanted to talk about for the Department of Public Works?
I had had a conversation with Josh, and he is still, like, his top segment he needs is a building. Like, so what are our plans for that?
Am I out?
What, so.
No, but that
no,
question
no.
he can help with.
So we're currently talking with, and we can't promise nothing obviously, but we're currently talking with the ladies from the county that came and talked to us about the potential healthcare area. And Josh actually met with them and went down and looked at the old high school ball field as a potential site, and they loved it. And depending on the funding that we might get to help this whole creation, Josh is thinking, can't guarantee it, that there may be some funding available to put our Public Works building in there also, but I will let Josh talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a very preliminary vision right now. Again, it would have offices, all the room it needs, they need for Wood County Health Department, medical, dental, pharmacy, and psychiatric assistance. And then we would probably have very small weight room, some simple stuff, physical stuff, maybe just for employees and yourself, of course. And also maybe an event center we can like rent out, some simple. But obviously also we want to have the Public Works Department, a couple birds with one stone type of thing there with some bays and some room for their equipment. So what that exactly looks like as a building, not sure yet, but that's the thought process right now. We're still very preliminary. I've talked to the Wood County Port Authority, Rex Huffman a little bit more to see if we can pull multiple sources of funding in, because this isn't the multiple sources of funding type of thing. Also could be paid for by the health department, and I'm going over all the resources.
Some of the cost offset anyhow by some other resources, hopefully. But if you would like, we could probably, it probably wouldn't be anytime soon, but maybe talk to Josh and Brian and see what, because keep in mind, everything they have, they borrow. Like, right? It's all, their building that their offices are in is the water department's building. Where they have all their equipment is the water department's building, right? So they certainly need something. So maybe we start trying to, in the next month or so, try to pull some actual, maybe some plans and some very, very rough numbers, right? So we at least got a starting point to say, you know, if this is something that we want to make a reality, here's what we're kind of looking at.
I'm sorry, could you say again where you were thinking about doing this?
Maybe the old high school boys baseball field, right in the park.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you were talking football
Yeah.
field that just
No.
got donated to the park on one.
It hasn't got donated yet. It's not donated
Okay.
yet. No.
I just want to mention on that topic, I'd actually been asked about somehow it's gotten out that that field might be used for something. And I was asked, is the city gonna take that baseball field? And I says, I don't have any clue on that, so.
It is the city's baseball field, it already is.
Yeah, but it's been used for baseball.
Yes.
And so somehow they've heard that it could be going away.
I have been in discussions with Dennis Latowski. We are working on a solution to just that. I'm not trying to take away a field they are using. So he did have a plan, an informal plan of sorts design, back in 2023 that was shot down by, I believe, the previous mayor.
Previous administration.
Administration, thank you for that. But we're gonna probably revisit those plans and put another baseball field nearer to the other three, so everything's consolidated, they don't have to have two different concession stands going, type of thing, or it all could be over there, we have community center over here.
Okay.
So I was down, thank you, we was down working at the park today. Obviously, when Josh has reached out about the caboose that needs to be gone, the guy said he would get in here as quick as he can, we don't want to tear nothing up, he's got to set all that up. Once that comes out, we talked about putting a practice field in there, right? Well, maybe we put a full-blown baseball field in there. But I will say this, I do know in the past I've asked a question, I don't know the exact number, but there's been less than 10 baseball games played over there. So we cannot keep that when there's something that may be more valuable over there, if it's not gonna be utilized. And if we can accommodate somewhere else, right, and utilize that for something that would benefit, you know.
Indeed, we've talked about
For a long
years.
time. Now, I'm okay with them keeping it open, and guys, I hope you guys are, like, I know this isn't about me, but I hope that we're okay. Until we got a plan to build the building or put something on there, of course we want to leave that open for them to utilize, right?
It might be next year when we actually break ground.
But I think there's plenty of room over by the caboose that we could put a nice backstop in there and put a field in there, right? That would accommodate maybe the needs of, we could do it. Like, I don't, that would take the place of that, and then we could utilize that for something more, that would, take care of some of our future needs. Does that make sense? So I think what we can do in the next couple months, I hope, please don't hold me to that, but hopefully it's something that this group does, we'll continue to work on, is try to get Josh and the guys to say, let's put a plan together of what you guys need, and I hope this is okay, and you guys don't get mad at me when I say, hey, oversize it just a little bit, right? Because we don't want to meet this, you know, it's gonna be a whole lot less expensive to build it now and have a little bit of extra for future growth, rather than run out of the room and then have to, you know, put another foundation.
This building is a prime example of that, guys. All of our departments have outgrown this building.
We just always want to think about building for the future of what the potential is for this work, so please, so we'll try to work on that, but thank you very much, I hope that's reasonable.
Yeah, I just think this group has really done a lot better than the prior baseball groups since I've been here, and so I just wanted to, we want to keep them remodeling and painting and everything else. So.
Yes, absolutely, and yes, we do. We want to accommodate, because, I mean, I think it's a good thing that we don't have enough baseball fields. I'm not saying that should be acceptable, I'm saying that should be a trigger that, hey, we need to put another one down there. And along those lines, just real quick, I don't want to belabor this issue too much, but it got brought to my attention today that the playground equipment that's between that area is so inadequate, it's ridiculous. So I went down and looked at it, and April was telling me about it. Well, I just asked Mr. Klaus today for $50,000 to buy some, and if anybody has priced playground equipment, you would probably fall over. $50,000 doesn't give you much, but it might get us a nice, and we're talking about beautifying our parks now, but maybe we put a little time into that. Maybe Josh would like to see a nice piece of equipment to go in there, so with April, and then maybe purchase, I think they got swing sets for like somewhere around $3,000. Put a nice swing set in down there, keep the current, and then put another nice, and then, because we want to do some work over at the other one as far as drainage and all that goes, and we was down there talking about that today too, so that will all coordinate in itself, so we might not do a whole lot over in the main part of this area, but we might be able to do something over there. They said when they have ball games down there, kids just flood that area, and there's not enough to it. So that's something we're working on. I hope with your guys' blessing we can continue that. Does anybody have any thoughts about any of that within the park and the public works building? Because it all kind of ties together, actually. Okay, we'll move on. If anything comes to mind, you got my number, you can stop me at any time. We've got to back up, and I apologize to the utility director, he has not submitted, it's not necessary at this meeting. Is there any questions about our utility or anything you guys would like me to pass on to him? There's just ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot going on in every department, so, if you guys ever have time to swing up, we can always sit down and just kind of go over some, you can look at my board in there, I'm wiping meetings off every day, and they're in meetings every day, and we're really trying to hit the ground and get some stuff planned. So if you guys, I know we probably don't get enough time to share everything that's going on in these meetings, but you guys are free anytime, right? Get a hold of me, we'll make time to sit down if you got some concerns, or I'll sit you up with the department head anytime.
Same goes for me too.
We work for you guys, and we work together, and we're a team.
Goes for Tim.
So with that being said, we'll move on. If there's nothing for the utility director, village administrator report, please.
Okay, the Water Street Bridge ODOT project, construction bid documents are currently under review. They are almost done. The RFP for construction administration and inspection is also almost done. That will be posted on the ODOT's website. The construction bid itself, we are in charge of, and we'll go from there when it comes. We got authorization to actually advertise for the construction of the East Broadway project last week. That is being advertised now, multiple ways on our website itself, on other organizational websites, but also in the newspaper.
And where contractors will see it.
Yes, and also the RFP for construction administration and inspection for the East Broadway project is being advertised on ODOT's website, and that is the label about that one.
Can I just stop you just for a second, please? Please forgive me, but I just want to point out, as I'm always going to until these projects are complete, and I'm going to always remind you, because we are going to get beat up over these two projects, guys. Everybody, we're going to be heroes after it's over, but while it's going on, they're going to be going on simultaneously, and people are going to be mad, and rightfully so, right? I don't blame them. We tried to get them to offset. I'll remind everybody, we would have lost funding, right? And it wasn't worth losing funding. I'll take a rip for it, and if I have to, but we'll get these projects done. So by the end of 2025, both of these projects should be done. They'll be behind us, just like the sewer separation was a nightmare, but it's behind us. And I just kind of want to share with you, and I'll continue to remind you, because when these take off and we start tearing up these roads, we are going to get beat up by the public. But it'll be well worth it.
So you want us just to tell me to blame you?
Yes, do that. Yes, I mean that. Tell them. And I'll explain it to them. I don't want you guys taking heat over it. I will explain it to them. But when it's all said and done, there will be some.
Well, remember, he barely sat down in his chair and he got ripped for the stop sign thing. Stay straight.
That's okay. That's all right. All right. I'm sorry.
So yeah, those are two ODOT local let projects that are going on in the fall. Hopefully, both construction being completed. That is by October 1st. Moving on, our manual, personnel policy and procedure manual. It is. We will have a resolution in front of you, first reading, for sections 2 and 3 in April. We should be ready by then for sections 2 and 3 to be read for the first reading. And then obviously,
does everybody know what's going on there? Right? We are completely going through the policy manual to update it the best we can. So yes. That's going to be a heck of a process. Thank you.
Moving forward, Tony Schwartz, we came to an agreement with him, an MOU agreement, and the agreement itself is, if you flip the page, it's right there. I make sure you guys are aware. Basically, he's still going to be part-time on our records, but we are not going to be giving him health insurance going forward. He was a part-time financial officer for us for a while, Mr. Scaff, and he's basically retired. But he does assist Mr. Klaus here on occasion, so he's kind of a consultant of sorts that's we're still paying, but again, we have health benefits. So, that.
I have a question on
Yes,
that.
go ahead.
It came up before. I'm going to say it wrong. PERS.
Yeah, we have to pay that. That's by law. We have to pay that, and then
So we're doing that.
It's the 14% only for hours worked. So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
So, going forward, where was I? Community garden, we are in conversations with the health department, regarding that, SFOP, the health department that is. Right now, we have the kickoff scheduled for Saturday, May 24th in the park. I'll get you more details as the date approaches. A couple weeks prior, we'll be putting together, assembling the community garden itself, and we'll be working on that closely with them going forward. As you've noticed with the CSX railroad closure over on North 2nd Street, that was, they asked me, I said yes, please do it. That is expected to be reopened on March 18th. Took a little longer than expected, but it is what it is, and the weather has been kind of on and off with that. So they are installing new switch panels in case you're wondering. The CSX mowing agreement, the mayor and I have finalized, along with Jeff Everett at CSX, have finalized the details of the mowing agreement to improve accountability and oversight while reducing costs for both the village and CSX. This agreement will also include compensation for the village administrative costs. We will be going out to bid, but if we don't receive reasonable quotes, or if the amended agreement with CSX cannot be reached, then we will ban the project and CSX can deal with it themselves, their own problem.
If I just may, Jeff Everett has been actually wonderful to work with. I mean, this gentleman from CSX came all the way up here from Kentucky I mean, he had another obligation somewhere, but he wanted to be with us. We took a drive, and we reached out to him about this, and he was all right. The administrative costs that we're talking about, all we want to do is capture it's only $750 per year, right? But that's to capture the advertisement, the billing, it's just a number that we kind of threw out there as we were trying to gather what is it going to take for us to administrate this. And $750 seemed reasonable, and he was good with it as long as that was per year. And we said, yep, per year. And keep in mind, we're going to bid this for every 2 years. So the administrative cost will be a little bit more 1 year than the next, because we only have to advertise once every 2 years. So just kind of.
CSX lease agreement, I responded to CSX, I've not heard anything back from them. Again, we are not going to limit it to just unpaid parking. That was in the 1950 agreement with the chamber. We are not going to play by those rules. We're not going to risk the village being kicked out of the lease and owing money for something we can't use anyways, really.
If I could just,
Please.
but Josh did a very good job of choosing his words and just asked if there was any flexibility that we could use it. So he did really, really good at responding to them. I would say this would be a last ditch effort. If they say, no, we're not going to, I say we just abandon it and let them do it. Because I think, Josh has reached back and forth trying to come up with something that was reasonable, that would accommodate what it is we want to try to do with that property down there. And
if we cannot come to an agreement, I've already kind of set the structure, or
got the wheels rolling.
The wheels rolling. If the drug rehab center wants to take over that lease, so be it. That if they use it, they can do that. So I have that kind of information. If I went over there, walked with the mayor, I actually walked over there. And if Marathon wants to take over the parking parcel across the street from them, they can take over that if they want. They can do their own separate thing with CSX. Yeah, that'd be fine with us. I don't see why.
Or if Sue wants to take it over.
Do you want to pay for unpaid parking for
Well, speaking
downtown kind of?
for myself, not the whole council, I have no problem seeing us getting out of that thing.
Thank you.
It's been on my desk too long, so I'm kind of on.
You got better things to do.
With you. The village phone, the VoIP transition has taken way longer than expected. The original port date was supposed to be February 14th. Unfortunately, we don't even have a tentative date right now. That is not because of Intech, even though they have tried multiple times to work with Frontier. Frontier is just not releasing the numbers, which I don't know the legality behind all of that, but that is what's holding it all up. But it has given us some time to get internet service to our wastewater treatment plant. Previously, it did not. It was only serviced by a landline for that one phone, but because we're switching over to VoIP, landlines don't suffice. So I worked with Spectrum and Mr. Brian, and we now have Spectrum service in the wastewater treatment plant along with Wi-Fi service there. So when we do get the VoIP porting over and all done, they'll be ready for it.
Question on that.
Yes.
Frontier's the phone system, right?
Yes. So they have to port the numbers over that we're currently using to the new system. That's what the problem is.
Have they looked at switching to a different carrier than Frontier?
I Even if we did that, we still have to port the numbers from Frontier to that new phone system.
Okay.
They're not.
Even if we were to stay on the landline system, that is.
Okay.
And this might be something, Mr. Scamp, if we come to an agreement that may be coming down the pike, that we might be looking for some legal advice. We have all landlines in the village of North Baltimore. We're switching over to VoIP. We're paying $1,200 a month, right? VoIP is gonna be like $174 a month, right? Which is, and we got our Intech people who are wonderful coming in, making that whole transition. We've been working on this for a couple of months, and for some reason, and I don't know what kind of agreement we signed into, maybe we need to look at our agreement but that was a long time ago, because it was, and I'm sorry that the last agreement that I seen that we had with Frontier was signed by, the last one I saw, me and Chase looked at, it was signed by, Mr. Julian. So that was
Ooh.
quite some time ago, so we have to be out of that agreement, so. I have not, he did not find one since then, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but anyhow, they won't give us our numbers or whatever, so we probably need to take a look at that agreement. So if we contract, we may be asking you for some legal advice or some legal help. But right now, I think Intech's handling it, hopefully it needs some help, see what we can do.
Tree commission, we are currently working on creating a new program to replace the existing tree setback program, but the adopted tree program will continue on, but with minor modifications, mostly in regards to the selection of trees that we can plant there.
And all that will come before you guys, once it gets
Yes.
finalized, right? We're
Yes.
trying to come up with, obviously.
Our fiscal clerk, Kylie, has been pretty much appointed as the tree commissioner,
Czar.
I was called, tree czar? Tree czar, I like that, tree czar. So she's kind of taking over this, overall tree, everything. But obviously, Josh Long, myself, and the mayor have taken a special interest in this too, and we'll be helping her, working with her to get our tree situation under control, I guess we'd say, but also just make sure it's established for the future, and make sure the programs continue on, and Memorial Grove, with our treatment plants, prospers.
They get it taken care of, Paul.
Well, there's a tree removal, and anything we remove, we're required by ordinance to replace. And Josh Long takes care of the removal, Kylie's gonna take care of the replacement, right? Like that language will come to you guys the way that we get it set up. And if you guys want it modified, you guys have the authority to modify it, so that's what you can expect here in the near future.
Can we make a
You sure can.
rule, that, I can't remember if we made a rule that you can no longer put.
In the boulevards.
Yeah.
That's in there, that's in the new legislation, right? And we're the only ones that can plant anything in the boulevard, right? The homeowners shouldn't be planting stuff in the boulevard, we are the ones that plant stuff in the boulevard, right? And we're the ones that did it, over the last, how many ever years, so, it's kind of a rule for ourselves and for future generations, so it doesn't mess up our infrastructure. But, we're gonna ask people if they want those trees planted, but yes, sir, that's in this legislation, so there's that.
Yeah, when we did sewer separation, they planted a tree right next to my sewer line
Right.
coming out.
Brand new sewer line.
Yeah, and planted a tree 7 feet away from it.
I guess we just don't understand we just put a $15 million infrastructure improvement underneath, and then we plant trees over top of it to get down there and rip it up.
We're gonna put a lot more thought behind all those trees
So-
to be planted.
So we do wanna be responsible with the trees, right? We're, as we talked about in the past, we're not gonna belabor this, is there's a place that we can plant trees. The ones that we remove, we're not just going out and removing trees out of the boulevard, we're gonna remove the ones that are sick or a safety issue, or that is getting the power lines that need to be removed, so.
Okay, moving on. Cyber liability insurance, 365, and cyber awareness training. I would like some discussion, direction on how we should proceed on all three of these, but first, I would like council's approval on, well, I guess approval, but basically, should we continue with our current cyber liability insurance, or should we proceed with the quote that we received for $4,247.75?
This is what our two gentlemen from Intech
Yes.
were here
Yes.
last week and explained.
Yes, and the gentleman from Intech did recommend that we should stay on our current cyber liability insurance
Which is PEP,
plan through
which is
PEP.
PEP.
We pay about $717 a year for that, but he says it is adequate. But again, if we want to go in a way overkill, in my opinion, personal opinion, then we can proceed with the cyber liability insurance quote that we received recently.
That's not these, is it? Or is it?
All of these quotes are actually in the packet I gave you, by the way. So.
Cause I stepped out during that conversation, so I'm pretty ignorant to it, so I'll let
So,
you
yeah,
guys
this is
hash it
a
out.
cyber liability quote. Again, that's $4,247. But does council have any direction on how we should proceed?
I mean, if their recommendation was that we're good enough with what we have, why would we increase it? I mean, I don't understand.
I share that.
They were also impressed with the price we were getting for that, weren't they?
They
Yes.
were.
Yes.
Craig was.
Our liability is pretty low, I would say. Obviously, they don't know this guy too much. But.
Well, we might just have to put some restrictions on him, but.
Oh, yes, and that's kind of what the cyber cyber awareness training is gonna kind of hopefully address.
Well, he needs to take it twice.
Well,
Loud and clear.
If he's getting, like happy, you might have to, because they give you a test of sorts.
Every time I get one of those emails now, I think, did Aaron open it?
I had to start from Cup and Wire, so.
If we need a motion, do we?
No, because
I think
it's,
so.
no, only if we're making a change, we're,
Fine,
I think you're asking to just stay where we're at, we're covered, it's $1 million liability with a $10,000, deductible, thank you, if we have
Okay,
any problems.
moving on with that.
Can I just ask this,
Yes.
because I'm a little confused, so how does this pertain to our server? Does one have to do with the other? Like the new server that we're gonna get, does this Microsoft 365 or anything like that tie into the server itself? You know, the server we're gonna be getting replaced here in a couple months?
To my knowledge, the only thing this ties into with the server is that because we're getting rid of our one server that had Exchange hosted on it, we're getting rid of that, and the 365 is actually, doesn't need to be hosted on our server, so it's kind of like system in that way. But also, obviously, there's the, if we do get ransomware or whatever through using our email, that's gonna affect our server probably. So it depends.
Okay.
So if you turn the page again, you see the two quotes for the two versions of the 365, one government, one non-government. These are new quotes we just received. Craig had to do some adjustments. So basically, instead of like $12,000, which was the previous quote, it's now $8,952, and this other one pretty much stayed the same, about around $5,200.
And that's what we're gonna have to pay every year? 13, 14,000?
No, that's just.
No,
it's
Oh, they're
one
separate.
or-
It's one or the other.
That's what I'm, okay, perfect,
Sorry
yep,
about
got
that,
it,
sir.
no, that's okay.
One or the other. So, I would like, I mean, we can keep talking about this, but I would like some direction on how to proceed with this, or we can bring the council, the whole committee, the whole, what is council's?
Can we?
I don't think we need to go with the government license.
Okay.
From what they said last week, I don't think it's necessary, especially if the full suite's only gonna be on a few computers. So I don't see any problem with us going with the standard license.
Non-government.
Yeah.
Does everybody share that?
Yeah.
We don't have to vote, okay, perfect.
I think we should have a motion to go forward with this, right?
Yes, it's a contract, yes, is it, if that's what they're saying,
Yes.
yes. So the 5196?
51, yes.
Okay, so we've entertained a motion to enter into this Microsoft 365 governmental license quote, proposed by Intech at a cost of $5,196.
That's standard license, not government license.
Correct.
Oh, it says government
Yeah,
right there.
it says government on both, but it should
Oh,
say.
it should say non-government or so the standard.
My apologies.
That's all right, so the
Yeah.
standard license of $5,196. Thank you for correcting me on that. Is
So
there,
moved.
there's a motion on the floor?
Who made the motion?
Mr. Richmond?
I second it.
And
D.
D, okay.
Vote when ready, please, if there's no other discussion.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Boeckrey? Yes. Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Thank you very much. Installation of glass, and then you.
No thing. We also have the cyber awareness training, which is on here as security awareness training. That's for, they have sales tax on here. This quote's actually expired, I will say, so we have to get a new quote. So we put this on the next, council meeting, maybe, but, I wouldn't say it would be much more than this, if that. So I guess we could vote on this, just
Or you can do a not to exceed.
not to exceed.
If you don't assume that it's gonna go up. If this is something you guys wanna do, cyber awareness, I think Mr. Bender highly recommends it, so does Intech,
I think it's smart.
to protect us, right, from the
Yeah.
potential, the ransomware.
I go with an email with a.
So can we do a not to exceed $1,600? If it comes in over that, then we'll have to revisit it.
So moved.
Is there any other discussion? Mr. Cook made the motion, Mr. Richmond seconded, vote when ready, please.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes. So not to exceed $1,600.
Thank you, council. I'm so happy to get this off my desk.
Well, thank you for your legwork on it. Wow.
Okay, what else is next here? The bulletproof glass, we should be installing the bulletproof glass and some bulletproof drywall of sorts. Tentatively scheduled for March 31st. Again, and the mayor mentioned it, but we'll probably also be installing a bulletproof, or at least a thicker door, down the road, but that's not being talked about right now. But again, this has been, ARPA money, COVID money is being used to pay for this. Off our books. Wow.
The obligated, get it obligated.
And, the generator agreement, we finally got an acceptable agreement signed by them. I requested, council approval to sign, for me to sign and finalize agreement for, two, more services, maintenance services for our 3 generators. One to be planned soon, actually, another one planned, in the fall, in September.
Did you get everybody a copy of that agreement or not?
Yes, actually, right here, it's in front of us.
So so just keep in mind, Kent was charging us $7,500 for one visit per year. They really, unfortunately, I shouldn't use their name, but they really did us wrong. Thanks to Mr. Ingard, he reached out to another, source that is fantastic. Him and I met with them. They came in, he had his son that works for him come out there, looked at the generator, he knew everything about it by looking at it, got it up and running. It's running very well at this time. And so to service all 3 of them, where we was getting charged $7,500 for one, they are gonna charge us $4,000 for it 2 times. Obviously, yeah, that's kind of why we did it. I was very disappointed in Cat, but that does not include, like, if he has to add a battery or anything like that. It's just come in, service it, clean it, do what he has to, change, add oil, change oil, whatever. Anything that has to buy on top of that, that would be with any contract with anybody else. So, is there any discussion on this? So who's that with? That's with,
Automated.
Can we entertain is there any other questions on that? Because we need to make a motion to.
Automated generators.
If you guys allow us to enter into that agreement, with them. Is there a motion to
So
enter?
I'll make a motion that
Thank you.
we enter into
Second.
agreement.
With,
Oh, automated generator system?
yes, thank you. Per the outlined agreement. Is there any other discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yep.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Okay, and lastly, I'd like to hire a code enforcement officer, so I'd like council's approval to hire Mr. Christopher Zeller as our new code enforcement officer, with a tentative start date somewhere between March 17th and March 21st.
Is this the gentleman that's EMS?
He's currently EMS. We actually have a meeting with him tomorrow to discuss his schedule, when he's going to be working, and making sure that he is aware that he will not be getting overtime, basically. We're going to make sure he's under 40 hours each week, unless absolutely necessary.
So this council approved 24 hours per week during certain time and 16 hours during certain times. Now, obviously, that may change depending on the workload, right? But we would hopefully balance that out, but.
And I'm saying that because obviously EMS, you'll be working, we still be working a shift with EMS, that's what I'm getting at. So we have our allotted amount of money for that position, but obviously you look at EMS, so, and when you combine them, you
Talk
could
about
get
it.
overtime,
Yeah.
so we wanna make sure we very
When are you looking to
aware
have
of
them
that.
start?
We're gonna sit down with him tomorrow, so if you guys hire him tonight, we're sitting down with him tomorrow, but, going about, you know, the expectations and what, so.
And has he ever done anything like this
Nope.
before? That's
But
okay.
he's familiar with the town.
Yeah, and he's looking forward to this new,
And he's moving here too.
yeah, he could potentially, he said him and his wife want to actually move to North Baltimore, so.
And not when they get all.
Doesn't get a gun.
Actually, Paul did, Paul actually,
No.
I mean, did no, he didn't.
Okay. No,
So
you
they-
can call the cops for that, not a real officer.
The police chief, myself, and Mr. Bender will sit down with him tomorrow, and obviously, we'll report back to you, that's what. I mean, we're still working the bugs out of this whole thing, but we got a good start on it.
I also invited, EMS chief, our EMS chief and our police chief and April. April's also kind of in training for HR right now, so everyone, we're gonna know, it's very,
Yeah.
everyone's been talking to this guy about.
There's a motion, is there a motion on the
I
floor?
got a question though, if you're looking to hire him, you're probably not looking to have him out in the field until probably May, cause you
Well,
don't know the
Well, we'll get him out before that, but it's gonna be kind of a work in progress, we can't wait till May, I mean,
Okay.
there's some people that are very upset with how this whole thing actually dropped off. Right, I mean, people have come to me and like, where's the code enforcement officer? Well, I said, well, we're working on it, just, I had a gentleman come up here very displeased, right, and he's been very patient with me, very patient with me, and he was excited when we got the first code enforcement officer, and,
Well,
and it's
that's good to
coming.
hear.
Yeah,
That's
so people have actually, really, and obviously we're gonna have our, so there's a motion on the floor, is there any other questions? Did anybody make a motion?
I was gonna say, I'll make a motion, if nobody else has, I'll make
Hire.
a motion to hire Christopher Zeller, code enforcement officer for $18 an hour.
Okay, and Mr. Richmond seconded, Is there any other discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything else? Okay, any other questions for our village administrator? We are working on trying to find an assistant clerk to help in the cross-train for Becky. We had, Kylie was, at one point, she was a little interested, and then I think, so she wants to talk to somebody, and she got scared. So, she said, yeah, I changed, she told me today, I changed my mind. She actually was gonna go up here and sit in and see if she was interested, so she wasn't even willing to do that, so. I don't know, we're gonna have to go get her. So, I guess it just goes to show how special Becky is, but we gotta find somebody to help her out. So if anybody has anybody in mind that would be willing to help out, we'd certainly need it, so.
Is it a paid position?
We can make it the assistant, so what I was gonna do with Kylie was actually come to you guys if there was something you wanna do and give her maybe a 50-cent raise, because she would actually help out up there with, Becky's, helping file stuff, and, cause Becky's still working on getting everything straightened out up there, guys. I mean, it is still a little bit of a mess, she's done a wonderful job up to this point, but that's something we was gonna have them do, but that's something we should probably sit down and talk about, so.
Okay, then if we have someone that's interested, who do they contact?
Contact me or Josh, and let us know that they may be interested, and then we'll actually sit down with them and then come back to you guys and present something to help out, so thank you. If you have anybody in mind, please.
I've got two.
I love it, thank you, so.
We'll talk afterward.
Yeah, okay, so, moving on, to appoint legal counsel, obviously, Mr. Dennis is not here, we'll move on to, so I wanna ask, Josh has been having a lot of lunch meetings with people and spending his own money for lunches. I would like to give some thought to, maybe a monthly allowance for maybe him or Matt or anybody from the village that's out having, like, he's talking to a lot of engineers on our behalf, right, like, we just had a heck of a meeting today with a group of engineers. Now, obviously, it wasn't over lunch, but, so they'll go down to the West and stop to have a sandwich or something, and he's been in quite a few, and he's taken out his own pockets, so give consideration.
Does it
of-
count, legislative body?
What's that?
does it count legislative
Well,
body?
that's-
I will say that.
We gotta be real careful.
Because I would vote for that in a heartbeat.
We gotta be there. Give some consideration to what we would think would be a reasonable allowance for, you know, anybody up here that's taking somebody out to lunch on our behalf, you know, meeting on our behalf,
It's a $5 McDouble.
or, you know, we, not only that, but we can use some of that money if we have a, you know, a meeting up here with some engineers or consultants, or, you know, just to maybe cater something really, really light in or something. So just give that some consideration, but to maybe give an allowance for these guys when they're out meeting on our behalf, that they're not spending their own money out of their own pocket.
What kind of figure are you entertaining?
I would think, I mean, you're only paying for your own, right? I mean,
Yes,
you're not
I mean,
paying for the whole.
If I was there with Brian, then maybe his also, I mean, what's your?
So I'm thinking $50 a month, it was my thought, right? Because that gets you, or maybe 75.
Average, how many times do you do it a month?
Well, I guess that's what, so,
So far, I've done it 7 times approximately.
See, I was thinking more like 100, but maybe, you know.
$100 a month?
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
minimum.
We just gotta be careful, guys, we.
I know.
You know, if
Just-
you're-
Talking,
Right.
You're only
I
allowed water on these
appreciate
trips
that,
now.
like.
I wanna drink water on my trips.
Just, we don't have to make that decision tonight, just please give us some consideration, because this would also pertain to Matt.
Becky, could you put us
Right,
on that
yeah.
for committee of the whole?
Yeah, to
please?
maybe just give some thought of a lunch allowance for, you know, anybody that's on our behalf that may be going out and meeting. Cause I'm telling you, when we share with you guys some of the stuff that we've been talking to, it's pretty exciting.
So
Can
that's,
that just
village.
provide us with an expense report?
I don't know that we've ever done anything like
We can
that.
discuss that.
Yeah, then we, just give us some thought, I'm sure we can come up with something that's fair and
I mean,
equitable.
that would be the
Yeah,
best,
just a
especially if
reimbursement.
you know, you meet with 3 guys one day, you buy them all lunch, and then.
Well,
Well-
I wouldn't buy their lunch.
It depends on who you're with, right? But yeah, but I would appreciate that. Please just give us some thought before, please.
Yeah.
What?
Well, you're just
I'll tell
buying
you-
yours.
I'll tell you how
Buy-
real
buy
this
your own
is.
lunch.
Mr. Roberts, and I don't know that I don't think this is a secret, but he will do lunch once or twice a year for his men and his employees, just as a favor, because he has a good relationship with them. Well, I think that Mr. Bender certainly, and the mayor, certainly have the ability to do this, so.
So thank you for that trust, but something I certainly wanna be responsible with, because you may not have us up here all the time, you may have some people that, so that's what I'm saying, to kinda just give some thought that we may not be the bodies up here, and you may have some people up here that you guys authorize that with that may not be as.
Well,
I
we
think
still
we
got
need
7 more years.
Okay,
I
we gotta
think
make
you
one.
need to have some guidelines that you.
Agreed.
Exactly.
You
I
know,
agree.
you need
Yeah.
to
D, that's-
have an expense report that says, this is who I had lunch with,
Yep.
and.
No alcohol.
Here's the
Well,
receipt.
right, no
Yep,
alcohol.
and guys, I appreciate-
And here's the receipt, right, I think there needs to be
We've
some
talked about
oversight.
That's why I'm asking to get some thought to what you guys would like to see, and we could simply throw that together and that's why I'm asking, because exactly that. So for us to hash this out tonight,
No.
we're gonna be here a
Is
minute. so.
this under policy, personnel policy and ordinance review?
That'd be great, please, that's a great idea for committee of the whole, thank you very much. So thank you for considering that. Did anybody give some thought about what we'd like to do about the Palmer energy discussion? Amy? Keep in mind, the biggest thing that I didn't like about it is you don't opt into this thing. Once it's, you have to write and lock out, and there's a lot.
It isn't for elderly,
That's-
and we have a lot of,
Ms. Beaupre, that's exactly
I
right.
tried one of those.
Got a lot of elderly.
There was a guy here in that town that came around and renegotiated our gas prices. It was higher. So you gotta think about this. If you're paying somebody in between, okay, that adds a cost. I don't care what you're doing.
So obviously, this is just for the generation cost of it. My concern is, and I asked her when we were sitting down, because I met with her personally before all this, was, well, I said, because I at one time had a third party, right, that took care of the generation cost, but at one point, we wasn't paying attention to it, and come to find out that the rates had dropped with AEP, and I was paying more at this time. I'm saying, how does, and I said, so what would I do there? And she said, well, you would just opt out. Well, I share your concerns that how many elderly people really follow that once they're in, or even realize that they're in, to be honest with you, because you have to opt out, you don't opt in.
and it doesn't even have to be elderly, it can just be the general public, because.
But the thing is if you're with AEP and you don't have another provider that you've opted in to provide your electric, AEP is double. what- what-
We got a franchise agreement with them.
Well, what I'm saying is, they're gonna pay a higher rate anyhow, you've gotta do something to lower your rate one way or another. So if they're with a lower rate with Palmer, I mean, they're eventually gonna have to, otherwise they're gonna be paying double with AEP. I mean, ours went from 11 to, I think I got it down to 5 when I went on apples to apples. So, I mean, people are gonna be paying higher rates if they don't have an option. I'm not saying they don't have an option, because they do with apples to apples, but it's the same thing.
Right, so why would-
If you don't do apples to apples, you're gonna be paying twice as much anyhow. So, to me, that's hurting the elderly, because if they don't know how to do that.
So then maybe we should advertise and let them know that's out there, rather than lock everybody into something.
Well, but it doesn't matter what you're on, you're locked into it unless you change it.
So can I ask you
can
this?
change Palmer without any,
Yep, so can
without any penalty.
So can I say, so you're saying that you would be paying $11 for your
It's
generation,
11
it's down to
cents.
like 5 something?
It's 11 cents,
Yep.
5 cents.
Cause okay, so she said it was only gonna be like $100 worth of savings every year.
Well, no, it depends on what they're getting
That's what
charged.
she told me.
Well, she said 6 cents. She said 6 cents. But
Telling you what she
AEP
told-
is 11.
I'm talking about when I sat down with her personally and talked to her, I asked her what kind of savings would I realize, and she said somewhere around $100 per year.
Well, it's gonna depend on your
I
electric
get
use.
that, I'm quite certain, but that's what she gave me the average, and I think I know I wrote that down.
This is called the aggregation.
Yes, I don't care what.
Have you ever heard of this, having experience with it?
Yeah, I've been doing it for Holland for 10 years.
Is there a benefit to this for the citizens, in your opinion?
Yes.
There is, okay.
Absolutely,
So-
a huge savings.
Yeah.
It gives you another option.
Yeah, we just renewed, our electric, Holland is with the Northwest Ohio Aggregation Coalition. And they just, agreed, Dynegy, I think it was. But in the 10 years that we've done it, I think electric savings has been around $23 million.
As a whole, in Holland?
Well, for the coalition,
Oh, I got you, okay.
yeah.
So it's gonna have to go on the ballot in November, and this is a process, this isn't something that you guys, you guys give the,
Now,
go
do
ahead.
we have
Susan.
to pay to put that on the ballot?
Not if we do it in the general election. If we
Okay.
did it in the midterm, yes, it would cost like $10,000. We're not putting anything on this midterm. Unless they have something going on as far as like an issue. They got an issue on the ballot, then we get it on that. If there are no midterm issues, I think I'm right in saying that. There's
I
no.
mean, it's just another option for people to save money, and I don't think we should take that option away from them.
Well, we're not, right? We're not taking it away from them. It's just not available to them right now.
Right.
We'd have to put
Right.
that on the ballot for them to decide what they want.
Right. But I would be for it.
Okay, so, do you guys wanna continue this discussion? It has to be, whatever we do, if we decide to go forward, it has to be on we have to have it submitted by August, I think? August,
6th or
so,
7th.
to have it put on the ballot on behalf of the residents, so give some thought, give us some thought, we'll revisit it, and if we have to have Amy back, we'll have Amy back, but this is one of the things, guys, I appreciate your position on it. It could be a cost savings for the citizens, so, committee of the whole, to retouch on this, okay, thank you. Okay, aggregate, county economic, okay, and I already touched on the economic development, we will reach out, to see who is interested in going, and please keep in mind, if you sign up to go, please go. And I understand if something pops up that you can't, right, obviously, things pop up in your life, but, it was more of somebody said they wasn't gonna go last year, and then they showed up, right, and that's a problem. So, moving on, okay, standing.
Fortunately, somebody did the opposite.
We touched on a lot of stuff tonight, so economic and community development, Mr. Cook.
Okay, I just have two things quickly. I've talked about before, the farmland, that we lease out, the idea of putting that up for sale. You wanna say anything about it?
Well, are we good with that? Because the contractor, I'll be reaching out to him later this week to see if, you know, talk to him more about that. He's out of state right now. Is that something that we wanna pursue?
I think I would recommend you guys, before you commit to that, I would see what his timelines are.
What do you mean what his timelines are?
Well, we're in a 2-year agreement, and I know we could do certain things with that, but we are committed to that agreement. If he's not ready to start even breaking ground within 2 years, why, we wouldn't even
No, he
touch
would
it.
be, if he would move forward on this and we would move forward on this, he would be.
Well, I would like to sit down and talk to you.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
so I'll be reaching out to him and seeing if we can set up a meeting.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that would have to be done in probably executive session, I would imagine, to see what his terms and conditions, or what he's doing, or what his, you know, what his plans are.
He would show you some designs.
Yeah, he would, he'll have design.
I'm more concerned about his timelines.
I don't think that'll be a problem. He's out of state right now, so I'll reach out to him later this week and.
See when we can sit down. Is that something you guys would be interested in sitting down and seeing what his
A lot of
plans are?
people say they wish we had more, so especially even possible senior ones.
Well, I'm a firm believer, we're making like, I don't know, $3,000 a year, $4,000 a year off that property. If we can do something and have somebody come in and invest in it, and we turn that into, you know,
Property tax.
$40,000 a year with income tax and all that stuff with the development, right? People moving in, people say yes, well, obviously we're all for it. Just how we go about that obviously is gonna be detrimental.
I don't have much time this week, but next week I'm rather free.
Is there anything else, Mr. Cook?
One thing quickly, I've talked about the old water tower property on Water Street.
Yep.
I would like to suspend talk on that, so Mr. Bender has, because he's looking at all these options for the health department and all that, I would just rather leave that thing sit on the table. We've got certain issues with that property anyway, so I'm gonna put that on the back burner.
Yeah, that property, if we do use that property for the village, it wouldn't be the health department, it would probably be for a new home for our public works department. That's just like another option for just them, but again, that's preliminary discussions on that.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know, I'm not gonna be bringing that one up.
Anything else?
Any
Mr. Cook?
questions for me?
All right, moving on, Public Works, Ms. Beaupre. Anything?
We already did me.
I'm sorry?
We already did me.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Is that when you were saying up there in the, we already did you?
Yeah, metal building.
Okay, yep, so that's what we.
Checked in.
Yep, we have,
Yep.
okay. All right. Public, okay, moving on, any
I
questions?
wanna
Ms.
thank
Beaupre?
you for being on that building, that needs to be kept on the front burner.
Any questions for Ms. Beaupre? Moving on, Public Utilities, Mr. Soltis, anything to report tonight?
No, the only big thing is the legal thing right now, it seems. I mean, everything else he's got control of, so. Unless he's hiding something. No, he's.
We're good.
You can't say things like that.
We're good. Good. Public Utilities, any questions? Mr. Soltis, I would ask him not to ask him any questions. Finance and Technology, Mr. Ingard.
I have nothing.
Nothing, okay, any questions for Mr. Ingard? Moving on, Personnel Policy and Ordinance Review, Mr. Richmond.
I just got one thing, and I just wanna thank you, Mr. Mayor, and
Oh.
Josh, for your work on the, policy handbook. I appreciate the
You're welcome.
time you guys are putting in to make sure that's right, and our employees have a clear view of what we expect and how they're supposed to conduct themselves.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
For
Mr.
the time you're putting in.
You're welcome. You are very
Public
welcome.
safety got left off, so.
I was gonna round that one.
I mean, I'm here, and I'm not here, and now I got my snake taken away. What's
You're
going on?
right, I left it
Moving
off.
right along.
I am so sorry.
Any questions for Mr. Richmond? Public safety,
I have
Ms. Hefner?
nothing.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Cause I was listening too. Okay, moving on. New legislation, resolution, motions, and business. First reading, read ordinance number 2025-06, an ordinance amending charges for village emergency medical squad services and repealing all other ordinances inconsistent with the provisions of this ordinance. Is there any questions or anything on that?
This is the first reading.
Yes, sir. That's the first of 3 readings for that. Moving on. This is the tree ordinance offsets, and this is where we're outlining and defining the soft billing. Ordinance number 2025-07, an ordinance amending chapter 909 of the codified ordinances of the village of North Baltimore, Wood County, Ohio, to prohibit new tree plantings on the boulevard, tree lawn, and establish minimum distances from streets and alleys. There's no questions. We already talked about ordinance 2025-08, that we will have a special meeting on to talk about that. Along with what we're gonna do about legal counsel. Moving on to, that's what the special meeting will be about. Resolution, moving on to, okay, 03-2025, our finance officer is asking to pass this as an emergency so that we get plenty of time to get it on the ballot, and obviously we do, but this is for the 2 mil levy. So putting it back on the ballot as a renewal. It is a renewal, it's not, nothing has changed, it is a renewal, so.
You need a motion on that first?
No, I gotta read it first.
This is just to request the certification, so it's basically like the dollar amount, so.
So we still have
After
to
that, we still have to pass a resolution to
put it on.
place it on the ballot,
Thank
which,
you.
so that's why it'll, if that goes 3 readings, that's why I like to see it be an emergency, that way if there's something on there that, the county auditor would like to see different, any kind of hiccup, we get a little more time, so.
And thank you for that, this just lets us know what that would generate, and then
Yeah.
we'll have to go through the readings.
It's called a resolution of necessity.
Thank you, so resolution of necessity, thank you, Matt. So reading resolution 03-2025, a resolution requests certification from Wood County Auditor for the renewal of a 2 mil levy for street and road repairs and improvements and road improvements. I will entertain a motion to suspend the second and third readings.
So moved.
Service
Any discussion?
It's for the year.
Vote when ready, please.
Ms. Hefner,
To suspend the second and third readings.
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I entertain a motion to adopt resolution 03-2025 as an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Matt, you can proceed forward with that. Reading, okay, this is to enter into a contract with Marshall Melhorn for the UV disinfectant, potential litigation, but as they would represent us. So, resolution 04-2025, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to enter into a contract or contracts with Marshall and Melhorn LLC to provide legal services to the village of North Baltimore, declare, I can't do it. That's my first reading. I will, entertain a motion to suspend the second and third readings.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that, Becky?
Well, I'm just picking.
Okay.
That's fine with us.
Any other discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Entertain a motion to adopt as an emergency.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Vote when ready, please.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Okay, and our last, legislation is before you is for the public records request, and we tried to get, that's an emergency because we needed to be in place by the April 3rd, time that the House bill goes into effect, so, Resolution 05-2025, a resolution to adopt the Village of North Baltimore Public Records Request Policy and Public Records Request Form, effective April 3rd, 2025, to ensure compliance with Ohio Public Records Act and House Bill 315. Entertain a motion to suspend the second and third readings.
So moved.
Second.
Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Entertain a motion to adopt as an emergency.
So
Yep.
moved.
Second.
Vote when ready, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Beaupre?
Yes.
Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That puts, gets the stuff off our desk. Second reading, An ordinance authorizing the annexation of parcel F 22-310-25000000240000 into the village of North Baltimore. This is the sanitary.
Motion.
No, we don't have to, we gotta go to the third reading. Bump him and wake him up when we need him. We're almost done. We've already hired Mr. Zeller. No third readings. Is there any other new business? Anything anybody wants to discuss? Any other old business? Nothing. We move on to the payment of the bills, please.
I'll make the motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $555,763.20.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion, any questions? Vote when ready, please.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Boeckrey? Mr. Richmond?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
All right, who wants to be the hero of the night? Make a motion to adjourn. Yes, please. If there's nothing else, vote when ready, please.
Mr. Engard?
Yes.
Mr. Soltis?
Yes.
Ms. Boeckrey?
Yes.